All right, how are you?
Pretty good. Just had
Good.
a bit of a snowstorm at my neighborhood
Oh, really? Where are you at? In Oregon?
in Washington State.
Washington. Okay, yeah. Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Hopefully not too bad.
not too bad.
Oh, okay. Get some snow. How nice.
Yeah, that was quite convenient for the other production that me and Leo are working on for Docs Animation.
Right, yeah. Did you see the little promo I did for snow bunnies when it snowed in Arizona, which is pretty rare. It snowed, and yeah. Did you see, Ed, the little promo I did?
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah. So well, while you're looking at the stuff, James, I want to tell you. So I have Cowabunga playing right now on the M&M TV Roku animation channel. So if you guys have Roku, you can go to it and check it out. And Cowabunga's playing on it right now, so they're real happy. But like any other content, any other stuff we do, we can just put it on there. And he said, since right now that they're just starting and they don't really have, like, they're not paying us for it, that we can put any advertisements we want. So James, like, if you wanted to put hi, my gosh, what is, help me out here, your steampunk hullabaloo. If you want to put hullabaloo on it, then you can put any advertisement after it, advertising your studio or whatever, your classes or whatever you want to do on it, like that. So anyways, I have Cowabunga up and running. It's being featured on that Roku channel.
Wait, what is this? What is
that M&M one that was at the convention, that at the expo? The guy has a Roku channel for animation.
Oh, was it? Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think was it? What was his name?
Christopher.
Chris. Yeah, right. Yeah, we were talking about that. Okay, yeah, okay.
So anyways, I put Cowabunga up there, and he said it just started playing on there. But it's cool. It's like, I guess he wants to do like a MTV kind of animation thing.
So. Oh, right. Yes. And I think his son was going to be involved somehow. They wanted to take like old public domain cartoons and start kind of filtering them or up-resing them, and then showing those and stuff. So okay, well, good. I mean, it's like that's kind of a thing that's kind of going. I know. I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean, I got approached by one or two of them for Hullabaloo. I think the arrangement that they were wanting to make was that, what is it, where they go by, like, it was like a profit sharing thing. Like, they need content to get advertisers, and so depending on how much play your short or show or whatever you submit gets, you'll get that in comparison to what others are playing. You'll get that proportion of ad revenue or something like that. You know what I mean? Depending on how much yours is watched. Is it something that airs on a program, or do you do it like Disney Channel, where you can actually select what you want?
It's the Roku channel. So if you have Roku channel, if you have the Roku device, and then it's on Apple TV also too. So he just got it for Apple TV. So it's like
really?
Yeah, it's like MTV, right? They're just have this constant circulation of cartoons playing, and then Cowabunga, I think, plays like 3 or 4 times a day in that.
Oh, I see. But it's part of like a set programming. You can't.
Yes.
You can't look for it and then select it. And then,
yeah. From what I understand, yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. I mean.
So just I'll keep you guys updated with this thing.
I mean, I guess the big question. Well, I mean, it's not that it's
low stakes.
I mean, the only big question is that I don't. Are they getting any revenue off of our content? You know what I mean? Like, you
I,
see what
I
I mean?
I think since it's just a startup at this time, that they're not getting any revenue. That's why I
Yeah.
said when he approached me and told me about that, I
Yeah.
gave a couple of our animated, just the stuff that I've done, and it's just really low stakes. If I could get more people looking at it, for me, it's good. Of course, he says, well, later on, if we get commercials coming in, everything, then we can start paying. And I'm like, I just want to put our website on there and get
For
people on it.
exposure.
Yeah,
You want to get exposure, and
yeah,
there's no real money flowing through any of
yeah,
it. So yeah, because like I said before, like it depends on how you're setting up your Roku channel. If you're kind of doing it as like a business, where like I said, these other people that are approached me, that's what they wanted to do, is they wanted to create like an actual business out of it, that was like a network, kind of a thing.
yeah,
But if this is just for exposure, that's fine, as long as nobody's making money off of it. And then once there is a proposition of money to be made on it, then that's the bridge that we'll cross when we get
yeah.
there, because then it's like,
I mean,
well, then what
yeah.
is the deal? You know what I mean? What is the the agreement there?
I
And
know
then
for Docs Animation, the way we do it
yeah,
is if anybody whatever they do with that one thing, like snow bunnies that we work on, if Ed wants to go and sell and make money, whatever he does and takes the initiative, he makes the money off it. And
oh,
so that's just, to me, I don't care, because I don't, whatever. I just want to make content. Honestly, I have a good job, and I just want to. I like to see the people coming together to make something, and I want to make it good. So that's a way we do it. But to me, that's just was the simplest for me. And yeah,
yeah, that's a little tricky, but anyways,
yeah.
that's something else. All right, so what are we?
So I think we have character design, story, and animation in those channels.
All right. Um, okay, so let's see, Leo, you have two character designs up here. That,
Yeah, so I went with what you were talking about wanting it to be more of
uh-huh.
the piñata kind of look to it.
Yeah,
So I mean, to me, when I look at it, especially the first one, it really looks like a piñata, but yet it still looks like an animated kind of character. But
uh-huh.
yeah, that was from the direction you gave last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are kind of neat. I mean, these are kind of fun.
And I was thinking of keeping the eyes on the same, no matter what, even if he's in a profile shot, keeping both eyes on instead of having one eye on one side and one on the other, like the way a piñata is,
Yeah.
or just moving it around, arbitrarily.
Yeah, kind of cheating
Yeah,
cheating the graphic nature of the character.
right.
Yeah. I mean, that could work. I mean, it's kind of been done before. I mean, it's always done. Like that's something it's a common thing with characters. Like what is it like? Trying to think of like I can't even think right now. Cool. Okay. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if,
Well, what would you change? What would you do to like to push it closer to what you're looking for in your mind?
mm, that's what I'm trying to think about. It's that's what I'm thinking about. So yeah, I haven't really formed an opinion yet. Uh, on it.
But it's pretty different from the direction that we were going before, where it was
Yeah.
its own kind of, yeah, creature, and now it's definitely a little more piñata looking. And you said you wanted more of that long neck, the kind of like the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. Well, that's an interesting part of it too, is like, yeah, that elongated neck kind of a thing to look more like like the donkey pinata that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's like you know, it's. I mean, no, it's a good effort. I don't want to shy away from that, but at the same time, I'm looking at it and I'm still trying to see uh, a character in there. You know what I mean? That tells me like, you know, yeah, for sure, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, something in the drawing that tells me like, okay, oh, that's our Miho kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that in this, but it's not to say that it's knock it as a design drawing. So but I don't exactly know at the same time how to make it that without exploring it myself.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an issue of something like uh oh well, it's because of the way it's drawn, and you should apply different line techniques or something like that to it. You know what I mean? I think it's uh, I'm trying to think about. I'm kind of like at a loss for words as to what it is that is not making me respond to it like I think I should.
It's like the typical director, right? I know what I want. No, what is it? I know what I don't want, or I know what I want, and that's not it. Like you can't
Yeah.
want, but you're like, nah, but that's not what I want.
Yeah. Well, that's what you kind of realize too, like, to a point, I mean, yeah, how much variation can you really get with this concept? You know what I mean? In exploring all of them that we have done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think on this a bit and come back to it. And yeah, this other one here where he's kind of holding the bat. Uh, yeah, it's kind of neat because I think when I stop and take a look at it, I think, okay, well, I can see that you're trying to do uh, many of the things that I've kind of suggested to you with in terms of thinking shape more than construction, thinking of proportion, variances, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it seems like you are kind of utilizing those concepts. You're applying those concepts in there, but at the same time, I'm kind of I guess this is that thing where I hate to use that word because executives use it all the time. Is that it feels flat. You know what I mean? And you're like, what do you mean by flat? And it's like, it's a two-dimensional drawing. How flatter can it get? But it's more about like a feeling, like it's leaving me feeling flat. And
But the
and
great thing for you is that you're an artist, right?
be able to just make a comment and solve it all. You know what I mean? But yeah. But I guess you see, I want to let me well let me see if I could find some stuff in the
Okay.
because I did kind of grab some stuff. Let me look it up here. Hold on, just bear with me. Keep talking, talk about stuff, and
All right. Let's see. What can we talk about, Ed, Sifa? Are you guys going to CTN? Are you guys planning on going to CTN? Yeah, you are. Sifa, are you? Were you planning on going to CTN?
Still working out the finances. It's a pretty long flight.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you came out for Lightbox last year, though, right?
Yeah, but one is more in October and one's more closer to the holiday.
Yeah.
That's where it's like that's where I'm kind of eating it because I was doing like the flights and it's like of course everyone's trying to fly then.
You know, speaking of expense, I was telling James I was looking into the gaming expos, and there's a big one in my hometown in LA, like a really big one. I thought, oh, great! So I started doing research on it and everything, and I looked at how much it costs for a table. You're not going to believe how much it is for a 10, no, what is it? Like a 6-foot table. It was so insane. It just crushed all of my dreams of like, oh, good, we can go show, because I'm sure there's not too much 2D animation stuff going on or anything like that, you know, at the Game Expo. And yet that's what I hear is everyone keeps saying, oh, we really want 2D. Everyone really loves 2D. After Cuphead, people are so, you know, jazzed about 2D animation. But it was so ridiculously, like, you would have to be a millionaire to do that. Like, I would say
What thing is this for?
the Game Expo. Remember I was telling you about the Game Expo? I'm like, I really want to show them our animation stuff and see, you know, see if we can get some investors or shareholders in making a game, you know, in 2D animation. But yeah, forget it. It's like thousands upon thousands of dollars just a table, just to get. But it is one of the biggest expos ever. But I mean, what it says to me is that only huge corporations are going to be able to really show. There won't be any. It's not like the animation expos where people go to sell their books or to show. It's nothing like that. It's, I mean, who can afford, you know, that? So yeah. So I'm going to go to the Game Expo anyways. I'll go as just an attendee. But yeah.
Where is the Game Expo?
It's in LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When is it?
I don't know. I don't remember. I researched it and found out, but I think I'm just going to go on a Saturday, just one day, or yeah, 1 or 2 days. I mean, even I think it's a 4-day event, but I really want to just spend the whole day there and see. To me, I think I'm going to go there even before going to Lightbox.
And when you don't know when this is or which one it is?
I could find out really quickly. Let's see.
And did somebody tell you, say you should go? Is that?
No, you don't remember, James? We had talked about it, and I was and I told you, man, I really, you know, these animation expos are great and it's good, but we're kind of like preaching to the choir, to animation people there. And this was after we talked to that one lady through Google, remember the Google Meet? And I said, I want to try the Game Expos. That I heard that the Game Expos.
Okay, that was your idea. You were thinking that it.
Yeah. And I told you I was going to do that, so I did a bunch of research on it. So expensive.
How much was it?
I'm going to see right now. It was so discouraging, honestly, when I found out. I was so blown away. I just closed my computer, and because I was really expecting to go. I didn't know it was going to be that expensive.
Well, that's why I mean, unless you see, because you're there to do some serious business, and yeah, it'll probably cost you a few $1,000s.
Oh,
you know, to kind of get a table, especially if it's a bigger expo like that or something, you know, an established one.
Yeah.
And so what you really have to do is you have to go like with your iPad and the Cowabunga stuff and together PDF,
right,
and go to each one of these places or find each booth that might seem like they would be in the game for having a 2D cartoon game, and then show them, say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm working with this group, a collective, you know, I'm working with animator, blah, 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 or something like that. We got, you know, is this something that, you know, you want to collaborate on? Does this interest you? Like, what would you advise? All this stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because then
Yeah.
they,
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go there and do that for. I think it's Saturday and Sunday.
yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, especially at this point now, because you don't have really any business to just set up and wait for people to come your way. That's like
Yeah.
for bigger, corporate, company, entities. But it's also designed for someone like yourself to come in and network. That whole thing is there for networking. See, because they have a company and they possibly want to network with someone like you. You see, they're all the people walking around. What are they there for? They're not going to buy their company, but they're going to probably buy maybe products, or maybe they're a distributor, or maybe they're something. You never know, like who's out there in that crowd. You see what I mean? And I mean, isn't that how Lasseter kind of started up with Pixar? He went to a convention and he met with the Pixar people, and he introduced himself as a Disney animator, and they were like, oh, a Disney animator? Oh, well, we need somebody who knows how to tell stories. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's talk, and then you take off after that. But
I just didn't know that it would be that. I mean, this is new. I've never been to a game. I went a while back in LA, but they stopped. The big one, the E3, they canceled it. I don't know why.
oh really?
Yeah. Okay, so it's called PAX West, and it's in. So I'm sorry, it's not in LA. It's in San Francisco. That's where the big cost was for me, because I have family. All my family's in LA, so I'd have to go to get a hotel in San Francisco. But I'm just
area.
While you're doing that, I'm just talking just to talk. But
Yeah. No, I'm looking up stuff. I'm finding stuff. I'm just collecting it right now, and I'm okay.
Yeah, so it's called PAX. That's what it's called. It's a gaming culture featuring panels, extensive expo. It's a lot of indie games being released. 10 by 10 booth, 2,500. No, there was one. I think it was the E3 that was like so much more. There's one they have in Florida too that was crazy expensive. Anyways, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Game Developers Conference is in San Francisco, California. That's the big one. That's in March. That's the one I want to go to. It's all developers.
Oh, really? And is that the one in San Francisco?
Yeah. Game Developers Conference. Yeah, see, that's the one. It's March 17th and March 21st, so that's coming up.
And you want to go because you actually want to turn Cowabunga into a game, or you just want to do a 2D game collaboration?
Yeah, I want to do it all. I think Cowabunga would be really great. Honestly, I think man, with the animation that you finished and did with Hullabaloo, I think if you were just to get that animation, had a booth, put that booth up and show it, and people could see, and if you could just do like, 15 seconds of what the gameplay would look like, I think you can get investors. And I mean, what do I know? But that's the way I'm looking at it. I think game is a lot more open than animation is right now. Like Netflix and all of that. I don't think they're looking for anything right now.
Yeah.
But gaming doesn't seem to be that way.
All right. Let me share my screen here.
Okay.
I'm just going to share the entire screen. I'm going to go to this one. So you can see my screen. Oh, speaking of which, so yeah, because well, let's see. It's hard to see, but like my friend, my friend is working on a Hullabaloo game with
That's cool. Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
sprites and everything, and
there you go, James. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I already have it. Like,
that is so cool. Oh, yeah. Imagine if you took that to the Game Expo and then showed them all the what could be cutaway animation. That is really cool. Oh, that is.
let's see. Where's the? Oh wait, maybe this is the. Oh yeah, this is a better. Let's see. This is a better view of it. Like, yeah, he recorded it off of his screen, so he's like, yeah, it's like.
Oh, that is so.
Running
cool.
by, like, this kind of thing.
That's awesome.
I mean, the sprites I did sprites that are better than that, but these are the ones that I did like a while ago.
That's
and then he even did another one where, he took my car and he put it into a game engine, and so we have like a.
Oh, that is so fun.
Like a racing game of it.
That's so cool. How long have you been sitting on this? Is this like new or?
For years.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, I don't know. When would we do this? 2015 is like.
No way. Really?
Yeah. We're just lazy.
Did you show it around? I mean, did you talk to people about it or anything?
Not really. So my friend Grant, like he knows how to code and stuff. So how it works is, they have game engines that are available to anybody. You just need to know how to code.
Yeah,
a little bit, but he just imported this rig into this game engine. Now the rest of it is really, he said the actual gaming part of it is not the problem. That's something they say anybody can do. Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's made available to anybody. Like the code and everything is made available. The hardest part of it is the design of it. Like, what is the car going to look like? What is the world going to look like? What is the character? Who are the characters? What are they going to be? That's the supposed hard part of it. You see what I mean?
And that's easy, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, he got that working. So, and I'm like to him because I animated all of my sprites. Like, let me see. Do I have them? Like,
James, this is exactly what I was talking about. I mean, imagine if you showed this at the conference, at the gaming conference, like just to show people what you're doing, and then you showed them the amazing animation that you've done. My gosh, I'm sure no one's seen that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, where are my sprites? They're all in.
Oh my gosh,
I gotta export these things. I know, you're so funny because well, I told you, like, we already have an app on.
I know, but
it's a dress-up game kind of a thing.
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah. Like, I mean, yeah. See, because I've already done like all this notes and stuff of what the racing game would look like. Like, you'd have this road that's going through a spinning gear, and you'd have to like time it so you just go through the gears. in time. Like I have all this stuff designed. It's just I don't know. I don't know what my friend is doing. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's really. I didn't know you had.
Trying to find the sprites. Where did I put them? I'm like, are they? Can't believe I didn't. I gotta like export these things. Oh, here they are. Oh yeah, here we go. So, uh, yeah. So here's the sprites.
Oh, that's cool.
I have a run cycle like for the Cheshire Cat, kind of thing, and then
Did you animate? Is all
all
this
these-
your animation?
what's that?
Is all this your animation and cleanup and inking and everything?
Yeah. And then this is how she shoots by conjuring up spells, kind of a thing. And then what happens when maybe these are all of them. Are these all of them?
I just realized that's your best friend.
Oh, here we go.
One, isn't it?
Yeah, so what you do is you animate all of the various things like you'll see here like here she jumps, she ducks, she
Oh my
shoots,
gosh.
she runs, she jumps, she gets stuck, she disappears, and these are all the sprites, what they call sprites. And then you kind of plug them into the machine, you know what I mean? And then the machine does the rest. But you just have to animate them.
Did you get that far?
Well, just like what you saw, like, he hasn't used like these new ones yet.
But don't you have all the backgrounds and everything already? Don't you have to put together a scene?
Well, the backgrounds we were thinking to do like CG backgrounds because that's what those are CG backgrounds.
But it's a side-scrolling game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a side-scrolling game, but he used CG like kind of like the Fleischers, how they used to use like the turntable, kind of thing, so that it has some dimension when it does scroll,
Mhm.
Or you could just do like a flat scroll. It doesn't, but
Yeah.
most of them have some kind of CG background with 2D characters on it.
Right.
So we just have to map the artwork, the textures onto the buildings, but we already kind of know how to do that. We've already done that, so we just have to get it together, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll call them up when we're done here. Okay. But so getting back to the matter at hand, I wanted to share with you guys this stuff because I guess so. I mean, well, here's the issue: is moving forward with this stuff, I realize we don't have the people in place to entirely move forward probably like I would, I mean, sadly, Melissa's out, you know what I mean? We don't get, so we're not doing anything with story. Where's the story? And I'm not faulting her because I got the message that she's has some serious health issues to overcome. So it's not, I'm not taking issue with that, but who else do we have that's really making progress with story? You see what I mean? And then, kind of same thing with designs a little bit. I'm glad that Sifa's with us now, but, until really Sifa came along, it's like, who was doing designs, to the expectations that I would have liked to have seen. On the last run with Cowabunga, we had Severin and maybe Gregory Dooley and stuff, and
Ricky,
who were kind of coming up with some good stuff, and then I guess I'd be able to tweak it a little bit, that kind of thing, but we really don't have a draftsman, a character designer, on this show. You know what I mean? And I want to show you kind of like what I am exposed to as far as something of a standard that, stuff that kind of excites me. And here is just one artist that, I follow on Instagram. His name is Rudy Hill, I guess. You could look up his Instagram, Rudy Hill Art, and you could just go through it and see lots of wonderful stuff. But, here's an example. And I took his animal characters because I felt the animal characters are probably closer to Creature Pinata like, so I just want to point out things about him, here I think is like a armadillo, kind of thing. But, the thing that I think is kind of fun about it is, again, we've talked about this before, and I'll point things out, is, again, you kind of have these fun shapes, kind of going. And again, you got thin legs with thick, going into thick to thin, these really kind of real fun shapes, little tiny eyes and stuff. And then even here you have like this loose, thing to kind of give it kind of texture. You see what I mean? I think that's in part what makes a piece like this. Let's take another one. Here's another interesting piece too that kind of uses the same idea in many ways, where it really is kind of taking line. Let me see if I can. Where's my? Maybe this is, really kind of really using line to help accentuate certain things. You know what I mean? Just to create the drawing. I guess I realized too, as I'm saying this, this is pretty advanced character design concepts, but I feel that it's worth sharing with you what I see, what I know, and whatever. But again, it's like you have like good silhouette value with this stuff, fun shapes like with this, uh, you got the silhouette value. You also have like these really nice shapes, again, with the little, kind of the wispier line to help indicate that that's fluff, but not being too detailed where you're kind of doing fluff. You know what I mean? You're not doing that. You're just kind of giving it like little like light textures, and even something as simple as the pole has like these great, has a really neat, shape to it. You know what I mean? That's kind of fun. It all works. Let me kind of go in here again on this one. Yeah, even something like this, even like this nice character attitude pose, it's, again, it's, you get this, this kind of thing, and then even this little tiny bunny is kind of cute in and of itself, as a drawing, um, but yeah, what I think, and maybe this is part of my style is, I think is to one thing to say to practice calligraphy, you know, because when you do calligraphy, it kind of conditions you to be sensitive to. Let me see if I have a angled brush. I don't know, what does this one do? Yeah, okay, so calligraphy is like, you know, fancy lettering. It kind of conditions you to, really learn curves and line weight and stuff like that, so that when you are drawing, what you're kind of doing is you're kind of doing a form of calligraphy with this, where you can like look at these things like nice curves and really kind of get this nice rhythm into these things. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the sensibility behind drawings like this. I see a lot of drawings like this on the internet. You know what I mean? And I think this, in general, is what producers and directors and whatever respond to in terms of being the best, most appealing types of character design. Is this. And even something as simple as like, again, this like little whale. I mean, look at this. You got, you got this basic shape, but then you have this kind of sophisticated little smirk here. And it's deceptively simple. You know what I mean? Because you think, oh, it's just a curved line, but you have this little wonky line that is countering the very simplicity of these nice, simple, broad shapes. And then there's this little wonky little line that kind of, complements all of that. You see, even this thing is a little top hat is still shape driven. And it's not just this, it's this. You see? So it's not that, it's this. Even this little thing, like a little pipe, it's not that kind of pipe. It's, what I mean? It's a shape, you see? But look at what the other thing I think is kind of admirable about it is that look at how complicated this is. This character has a shirt, a tie, and a vest, but it doesn't feel like that. You know what I mean? Because you have this, again, it's like a shape divided by shape. See? It's like this big shape is now subdivided and subdivided and subdivided and subdivided and subdivided and subdivide it again. You see, it's constant shape subdivision that ultimately makes something like this work. Here's another thing. Like, you know, I look at this and I think, like, wouldn't that be an awesome, like, pinata wrestler, right? Like, like what if we were to, you know, have taken something like this and just added, you know, fringe onto it. You know, but again, this is that calligraphy at play. Look at that, like swoop, swoop, swoop. It's like calligraphy. It's like, ugh, you know what I mean? It's like, these shapes, you know, and then even this, let's go into this here. Like, again, you have this shape here, and then if you really think about it, it's like subdivided, you know, it's in this, and then it's embellished upon even more, you know. But even if you take away that, I mean, still, you know, you're looking at, look at this shape, you know. And then again, these light wispy lines to help indicate that this is hair, you know. But again, you got this really strong shape. You see? Let me see what else. Here's another one. Here's another one. Look at this. The zebra walrus. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, again, like, I guess you have to ask yourself, does this look fun to animate?
Yeah.
So you got like this nice big shapes. You got kind of this shape, and then you got this shape, and then you even have this. I mean, this is your abstract thought. You know what I mean? Is kind of this, and then even this, I kind of like that. It's just a shape instead of doing, you know, like that. You know what I mean? You kind of took this abstract liberty to just kind of just do this, you know, almost as a counter to all of this roundness. You know what I mean? And then you kind of end with a poignant statement of, you know what I mean? You're drawing curve. You see what I mean? You know, and that's again part of the calligraphy thing. When you really kind of do calligraphy, and this is what I think I really do believe in that. That, you know, I used to do calligraphy when I was a teenager for a little while. You know, you like my little stir stick?
Yeah, very fancy.
Look
Very
at the EWA. Look, it's like that little jet. Isn't it cool? I love it. Anyways, but I think by doing calligraphy and being very intentional with your, it's like carving in a way, you know what I mean? So when you're drawing, you're kind of creating these shapes, and you have a rhythm in there. You're creating a rhythm, you know, kind of a thing. Yeah, and like we talked about this stuff before too, like, you know, kind of subdividing and, you know, this stuff. It's all stuff I talked about before, you know, taking the shapes and using variances and stuff. But yeah, I mean,
Hey, I have a question about all this that you're doing. It's a very practical question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to gauge and see. Let me ask you, how like to do these ones that you're showing us, because it has full color, It has. I notice you tend to gravitate to things that are a little more finished. How long would it take you to do a character design like that walrus zebra? Like, how long would it take you to do that? Like, to take it to that point of it being like that?
Well, it depends. I mean, if I get lucky, it could be like half an hour to an hour.
Okay.
It might, if I struggle with it, like really struggle with it, trying to determine all these little nooks and really kind of do, it might take me a few hours, you know what I mean? To like really kind of nail it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, to really explore a lot of the options, because I'm sure when somebody did a drawing, when they did drawings like this, I have no doubt that in some ways this is what it probably started like. It probably started with like, you know, you know, kind of a thing like this, and then you know, it probably started out like this, you know, a drawing like that, you know. It probably started out with something like this, and then what you do is, this is where you kind of then start to kind of finesse it a little bit more, and you'd kind of be like, okay, let me see, like this is when, like, okay, now do I want to do this, you know, do I want to have a reverse curve and go into that, how do I want to separate this, you know, do I want that to be sharp or do I want it to be round? No, maybe this should be round. And do I want that much of an S curve, or should I just go right into it? See, this is the kind of stuff you kind of decide along the way. Like, do I want to do this, or do I just want to go like this? How does that look? You see what I mean? You kind of teeter with this stuff for a while, you know, to kind of see, like, you know, and maybe your tail kind of ended like this, you know, but you're kind of like, but do I do this? No, what if I did that, like a shovel? No. What about is this oh, interesting, okay, all right, well, you know, you see, and you just kind of play with it for a little while. And you experiment a lot, and that's why I say when it takes a few hours, is because you kind of experiment with a few of the options. Then you might kind of say, okay, well, let me go back to that one. Let me start over again. Let me try this. You know, let me try this way of doing it. Let me see how it would look if he had this, you know, kind of shape. And then you kind of fall in love with it a little bit there, and you kind of go, yeah, I kind of like that, but let me go back to my other version. I see. Yeah, I kind of like this instead. You see what I mean? So you're constantly kind of going a little bit back and forth between rough drawings, you know, to kind of, you know, see what feels right to you, you know, and then you finally, through a lot of back and forth, end up with something that looks like pretty much like this. You see what I mean? But it does go through some experimentation. I don't think anybody, I wouldn't say that anybody just bangs this stuff out. You know what I mean? Like, these are like finished drawings after several failed drawings.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, what you're looking at is more of like the end result of a lot of experimentation. You know what I mean? You know, but you know, you can kind of see the appeal in it, can't you? You know what I mean? You can see that, you know, it, from both like an aesthetic of a design, but also there's also personality involved. That exudes, you know, personality, you know. You know, and it doesn't necessarily because it's in color. You know, honestly, I'd probably rather see it without color. You know, this would hold up as a line drawing even without the color. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to say like show me color stuff, but this is really more like just for like line and shape and things I just want to kind of like point out that, you know, again, what's at work is like, you can draw very much like I've explained before, like, you know, these shapes. And so I think, it kind of starts from a place like this, and then it gets subdivided a little bit. You know what I mean? You're kind of like working like this, and then this is where you can kind of say, okay, now how are we going to do this? Are we going to add a little break in there, for stuff when I subdivide it? I don't want it to go flat. Maybe it should be a little collar over there, and instead of looking at this as like lapels per se, you're not looking at it like that way. You're looking at it more of like a shape like this that is placed somewhere in there. You see? And this is when you start looking at, what does the presence of this shape now turn this shape into? You see what I mean? That's what constantly goes on in the head of a character designer, is that. And same thing. Every time you subdivide the shape, it's going to affect the shape that it was subdivided. And so that's when you have to decide, well, what looks best? You know what I mean? Like, does it best look up, or does it best look like that? Like, this kind of thing. Is it best that it's extended now? You know what I mean? What seems best? See? Like that. You get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when I see, so that's why, like, here's another one here, like a little snail pirate, kind of thing, but it's that was the assignment, a snail pirate. Yeah, a slug pirate, you know what I mean? Look what you can do with that, and it does require somebody who knows what they're doing, to be able to provide this. So this is why I say, like, to some degree, it's like, I know you're not there, but it's like, do you want to be there? You see what I mean? That's the real question, is like why we're here. You see what I mean? Is how much do you want to advance yourself, to get to a certain point? You see what I mean? And so that's in part why I'm here, I think, or I'd like to think, you know what I mean? So when you come with drawings and stuff like that, why I keep drawing over them. And if you notice, when I do draw over them, I like to think that they look closer to something like this, you know what I mean? More or less, but that's what ultimately I'm trying to do.
So from what you're saying, I'm trying to put it all together, right? I'm trying to decipher everything you've been saying, not just now, but throughout the time that I've known you. And it seems like for me, I need to put in more time, whereas I'm just seeing it as sketches. This is the way I'm looking at the character designs. I'm going to do a couple of rough sketches because I don't want to invest too much time into it, because James could just say, no, that's not the direction we're going. And I've just put 3 hours into one drawing. So why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
So, but maybe I should just like bust and work really, really hard on a 2.5 hour drawing, and try to really incorporate all of those things. Because I thought, like, if you notice, I always give at least 3 or 4 drawings, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes much more, sometimes 10 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
But if none of them get chosen, none of them are like, you don't like any of them, then I'm fundamentally doing something wrong. And I need to change my way of thinking into putting much more effort into the actual drawing, of putting not just a sketch. I'm thinking a very, like, if it was a life drawing, it would be like a 30-second 5-minute sketch is what I'm thinking as I'm doing these things, because I'm waiting for your approval to take it to the next step, which this guy is taking to. Do you understand? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes. Hold on. Okay, yeah. And keep going with that. I'm looking up something here.
So yeah, I just think my takeaway, I don't know how long you're taking, Ed, in your character design research. You got something, Ed?
I wanted to add something to what you're saying, Leo. Is that
Yeah.
It's something I posted in the wisdom quotes.
Yeah.
It's what I've learned when I was watching the animation documentary Frank and Ollie.
Mm.
The worst thing about starting a new scene is that you have to start with a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
There is nothing anybody else could do to help you. You have to start it yourself. You can't go and say, "Hey, make a drawing for me, and then I'll work over that." No, it's the reverse. You have to make the drawing first. It's not like live action, for instance, where you have Robert Redford and Meryl Streep or something. You got something that's a known quantity, but we start with nothing. That's what Ollie Johnston said.
Yeah. That is hard. Yeah. Yeah.
So I also want to be careful too, because I don't want to lead you to believe that the drawings need to be finished too. Because, when I think back to, like, here are some examples of like early Roger Rabbit development that probably were done by like Darryl Van Sitters or Chris Buck or somebody. But here's what Roger Rabbit looked like before he became Roger Rabbit. You see what I mean?
Mm.
But you can still see, like, now this is also the day when they didn't have digital technology. So these are done most likely how they probably would have done these things is with, they probably drew it on paper, Xeroxed it, and then put
marker.
Colored ink marker
Mm.
on it. Is how they used to do that. But, you can kind of see that, they are kind of goofy. You know what I mean? They're kind of loose, kind of like what you've been doing them. And, so I wouldn't, I mean, I think these look more along the lines of what you're doing, which is totally fine. So I just think it's it's just a matter of keep working, keep exploring it, keep developing it, try to put a combination of fun shapes and personality into the drawing. And it has to have an appeal, and the appeal doesn't necessarily totally come from all that list of stuff that I gave you, which is straight against curve, streamline, stuff like that. Appeal comes in like an overall presence. You know what I mean? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Is that it's not just the total aesthetic. It's a little bit, what does the character exude? You know what I mean? Like there has to be a certain something that the character exudes through a posture, through a look, and the device of actual laying down the line is just a service to that. You know what I mean? But then I encourage, calligraphy, because it's that laying down of that line that does kind of, help you support it. You see what I mean? When you do lay down the line. So, I'm trying to think, like, well, here's some of these. This is that lady that I think Mayan. I think it maybe.
Oh, yeah.
That's her, or something like that. You know what I mean? But these are actually really loose. These are not making use of that. Everybody draws with this Shiyun marker, which has like this kind of like this gritty kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It has this kind of line.
Yeah.
No, these were drawn on pencil, which are probably more like, sketching, pencils. but you know, you kind of see it, and there's something about it that through roughing something out and giving it, you know, this still does have, you know, a lot of the ideas that, you know, I kind of put in there. Like it still has a rhythm, and it still has like shape to it, and you know, it has a bit, you know, shape and straights and curves, and you know, all this stuff like that. You know, but I don't think it was labored over that much, you know.
Yeah.
But still, it had there's something about it that, you know, has a certain amount of appeal, you know. Even though like some of this like looks a little wonky to me, like for example, I think I probably would have put that out there like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's, you know, I don't that's something else. You know what I mean? Oh, I just drew all over that drawing. Whatever. Yeah, so I wanted to find some other ones of this because there's some other really good ones that I think Chris Buck did that
I think most of your examples that you've shown, at least if my memory serves me right, they are a little more like it does definitely look like it has a lot more thought and draw over, and like these are obvious that they're that one-time kind of deal.
yeah. But even these would take like 15 to 20 minutes, maybe half an hour to kind of do, you know. Oh, here's another. Oh, look at these. These are interesting. I don't think I've even seen half of these.
Mhm.
Like, look at that. You know what I mean? Like, this would have been Roger Rabbit, you know? Isn't that weird to think?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then you see, this is where again is like these drawings, and you know, I don't want to say to her, it's that these aren't meticulously drawn with. Oh crap! Why do I keep drawing over this stuff? You know, where they're doing construction line. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they're not doing this. You know what I mean? You know, they're kind of going at it like. I mean, if you look at these things, they're kind of going at it like, you know. I'm sure this is probably how it was drawn, you know. And if you can see me drawing, I'm kind of like, it's kind of like like doing swords, like thrust forward, side, foot, you know. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm I'm slashing. I'm making slashing motions, you know, quick, 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 quick. You see, I'm making slashing motions with my hand, you see, because I'm not into the meticulousness of the drawing. I'm just trying to get it down kind of quick, you know, something that has attitude, and you know, but still at the same time trying to give it some artistic merit with shape and stuff, you know. But this is most likely how these things were drawn, with this kind of a speed to it. You see how fast I'm doing this?
Yeah.
This is how this drawing was done, with this kind of speed and this looseness, you know. And if they did anything, what they probably might have done initially, if anything, is like probably like in blue. Probably did like a you know, something like this, You know what I mean? But then they would have gone over it with black and started. Drawing it like this. And this is probably the speed at which they were doing it too. You know what I mean? Like to get that real improvisational feel to it, you know, so that it didn't feel, you know, they probably worked at it that quick, you know. Yeah. Cool. I did not know that these existed. I'm going to save these. But yeah, so I guess, you know, here was the one. Yeah, like this is a one. Here's another Daryl. I'm pretty sure this is Daryl Van Sitters, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you know, and this is again one where, you know, he used like a, he used like a, you know, this. But he probably would have done the drawing like, you know, this quick, you know. But again, like the purpose of this too is to kind of put just enough detail into it to give a really good idea of who this character is and what they might look like, but still keep it loose so that, you know, it does have a feeling of pliability for the blue sky aspect of this stage of development. You see what I mean? It still looks like it could be contended with, you know what I mean? Where the details would be like figured out a little bit later. But, you know, you can kind of see by this, like this kind of says a lot. It says, look at the style of animation that we're going for too. You see what I mean? It also describes that as well, you see? So it says more than just aesthetic and just shape. It's also kind of looking like, look at the broadness of how we're going to move these characters. And this is an example of like with characters with feet that big and that disproportionate to the body. How are we going to treat those things when they have to walk? Well, let me show you how. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to use shape, and we're going to really play that up like this. You see what I mean? So Darrow was an animator, and that's how he was able to come up with this, because he's also kind of approaching this from an animator's perspective too, you see? So this says a lot, you know what I mean? You know, it suggests to the animator, like, and this is how we're gonna solve that. You see, we're gonna do shit like this. You see, so you know, that's like a hidden aspect of character design that isn't really in books. You know. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential that you could put into the drawing that is almost aside from. It's like you have your person, you have the character, the drawing is working on different levels. It's like it's working with personality, it's working with aesthetic, it's working with potential and treatment and kinetic motion. You know what I mean? It's on many levels. It's not just a, you know what I mean? Uh, yeah. So. And honestly, on Cowabunga, I wasn't getting a lot of that either. Like the designs, like Severin was good, and Gregory Dooley was good, But they still, in my opinion, have a lot of ways to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In their character design journey. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes character designers depends. It depends. Maybe they don't have to take that journey as far as they do, because sometimes character designers can just do what they do and people just happen to like what they like, and they don't have to get any better than beyond what they normally do. You know what I mean? That's a very possibility too. You know what I mean? It's like but I just wanted to kind of share with you my thoughts when I take a look at designs, what I see and what I get out of it, and to kind of let you know that I don't think that I am so unique with this. I think a lot of people look at it the same way. I don't know if they would know how to describe it the same way that I do, but I know that they do, that they respond to a lot of the same concepts and devices, but they probably just don't recognize it. You know what I mean? They don't realize it. But in my best way, that's my best way of trying to explain this. What you see is more than what you really see. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to bring this stuff up. And here was another one. Oh, there was another one. Let me show you. There was other designs I set aside to kind of show you what I was talking about. He added. Oh, here we go. Here is another set of designs, not for animation, probably for illustration for some kind of ad or book or some pamphlet or something like that, But what I wanted to kind of point out is something I had on my sheet. That I gave you before, which was, pointing out things like, look at how this is a definite solid, but this line is kind of broken up. And then you have, this line, here, as well as how this is very solid, the organic body, but this is to indicate that it's frillier and lighter, you see? See what I mean? How this is kind of broken up. And all together, you see how that makes, and this is almost like little dots, you know what I mean? But then this is like really solid. You see how this play of line can create so much interest and say so much with just a black and white line drawing. Like, yeah, CG can do textures, but so can drawing. You see? Same thing with this. I mean, look at this guy. See how this line is pretty bold on the outside, but then you have a lot of these little things here that indicate that it's maybe like some kind of knitted sweater, you see? But the outside is very bold and just, you know what I mean? And same thing with these pants. Like, look at these pants, but then you have like this little kind of jagged line, lightly jagged line that indicates like, oh, these must be something like corduroy or something like that. You see, you know, but you can see how when it plays against, you know, a light line plays against, you know, a heavier line, the interest that it takes on. You see, um, yeah, same thing with this again. You know, I got these nice bold lines. You know, uh, but then you have, you know, this kind of stuff. You see what I mean? To complement it. Same theory. You have like little kind of broken lines next to big. So what a character designer will do is take themselves to school, and that is to find inspiration and look at a lot. And a lot of modern illustration today is still influenced by techniques that were uh, developed and explored, you know, during the mid-century. You see, but they kind of just they do their own thing to it now. I mean, you could kind of look at a lot of uh, modern illustrations and see aspects of it, you know. But I just wanted to point that out, you know.
It's basically contrast, right? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and even too, like even like with shape, you know, look at this shape. Long nose, little happy, you know what I mean? So again, it's a shape that is subdivided and subdivided. Do you see what I mean? Like, you know, even this, it's like, you see what I mean? Like it's these basic shapes that are kind of like, you see, it's like if you were given two lines, one long line, two circles, and this. You know, what would you do? You see? Yeah, and then you know you put in the work where you want to, where you feel like you've achieved enough. You know what I mean? You know, um, and that's a hard one to kind of gauge and tell. You know what I mean? You kind of like a lot of those Roger Rabbit sketches. You know what I mean? If you got it down, if you sent your message and you feel strongly about it, then you're done. You know what I mean? Uh, you know, I mean, you know, you're done. At least for now. You know what I mean? But again, this shows a little bit more about like the range of motion. You know what I mean? Like when the character does get angry, what degree of caricature are we going to do? Because you could easily do it where you know what I mean? You know, you could easily do that. You know, and I don't want to say that either one is wrong. You know what I mean? It's that, but that's what you're doing is like you're kind of exploring the range of motion to suggest like, and you're trying to say, and when the animators start animating, this is how far they can go. You see what I mean? That's what you're really kind of doing is kind of paving the way of setting down the law, like setting down your permissions in a way of saying like, and the animator should have the allowance to be able to go this broad. You know what I mean? Assuming, and then the director could say, whoa, no, no, that's a little bit too much. That's if they how they feel. Okay. Oh, this is my daughter here. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, by the by, I uploaded some new character designs.
You put some in there, Ed?
Yep.
Where is it at? Under
The character design channel.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm back. All right. Okay, well, I mean, I guess I'm trying to say is that I feel like, it still needs to be explored more.
Yeah.
It needs to have more appeal. It needs to have certain qualities about it in order for me to kind of go, oh my God, yeah. See? But I wanted to show you from other people's work. You see what I mean? Not my own. You know what I mean? To show you that, that you could kind of take a look at other people's work and get excited and inspired by it, and that kind of stuff. What else are we looking? Are we looking at anything else?
I think in story and animation channel.
And some new character designs too.
Okay, so story. Okay, so show this. So here's story.
What scene were you thinking of, Ed, when you were doing that one?
The scene I was thinking of when I did that was after Steyr was introduced and he was being laughed at by the audience.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to do a little bit of do some reference through my own acting.
Okay.
So.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I see where you're going with this, and this is a neat exercise. I think the one thing that feels a little soft to me, honestly, is his dejected expression. I think it's not as pushed as these. You know what I mean? I think this feels softer to me because this seems like a pretty bold statement, and this is a bold statement, and this is obviously, well, these are just little beats within that statement, and this is obviously just like some kind of breakdown of sorts. But this is a big story pose that I don't think is really delivered like it could. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say that what would really help push that like whole scene, because now you described it, it makes more sense, is if there was a cut of the audience laughing at him, so that there's a reason for him to be dejected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is where I probably go like, I'm just going to try something like that, something like this, like this feels stronger to me. You know what I mean? Now you can see what I've done is I haven't concerned myself with a lot of the details. I'm just going for attitude here right now. Okay. So if I liked this and wanted to go with it, what I would be doing now is, this is where I'd kind of take another drawing. Okay. All right. This is where now I would start to kind of say, okay, now for real, it's like what is his nose doing, and what, you know what I mean? What, depending on, you know what I mean? I probably do to kind of flesh it out a little bit if this is the design that we're going to end up using. Do you see what I'm getting at,
Yeah.
Or maybe it would be more like this, maybe I explore something like that. Maybe I'd do something like that, because it still should feel like this, you know what I mean? But this is where I would start, trying to explore, you see what I mean? But it would always start from this statement, this abbreviated statement using a graphic symbolism, but a variation of that graphic symbolism. You see? Does this make sense?
Yep.
So we all know how to do this, but we all don't know how to do this. You see? And this is your journey right here, is getting to be able to do this. Because we all can do this. You see? But it's this that is going to take us practice. You see? And that's what you need to work on, I would say, in general, both as a designer and as an animator, is taking this graphic symbolism and applying it to the actual design, and that's when you kind of learn how to draw the character, yeah. So do you see what I mean? So when I watch it, yeah, I could applaud you for the effort at doing something, but it felt a little flat. You know what I mean? It you know what I mean? It and then even this breakdown could be pushed a little bit more. Like, what is it? You know what I mean? And even this here, what you could do. Um, You know, take something like this, you know, and really put, you know, get these, you know, arms back there, you know, and you could even, you know, these eyes with the, you know, with the mouth really kind of push that. And again, this doesn't look like with the character, but this is where I start. Like, I start with an inspiration, a target that's based on, you know, graphic symbolism and shape and stuff, and then I'll see what, you know, I can make. What can I make of it? You know, like, you know, now that I have the, you know, the design, you know. Yeah, I'll try to see if I can. See, because I'm thinking a shape here like this and what this subdivided shape makes. And then, you know, I kind of like what. You know, I think, you know, this is. I'm always thinking like negative space, like what are these shapes going to do? You know, if I lead that into there. I don't know. Yeah, and then let me compare it. Like, what do we got? Like, I don't know. I mean, something a little bit more pushed. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. I don't know. You see where I'm getting at? You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, it's good. I think, you know.
I think this is a good example of what you're trying to say with, like, you don't mean it's flat, but it's also flat. Like, there's depth to this. Like, there's foreground, middle ground, background.
Oh, I guess what I mean more flat, like as in like really provoking a response,
Emotion.
action. You know what I mean? Like a whoa. You know what I mean? Like to really provoke those emotions through pushed, exaggerated expression that are rooted in graphic symbolism. You see what I mean? Does that make sense? So, I mean, yeah. Let's see, the death roll gag. Yeah, that was. I mean, I guess I'm. So, it. Okay. So,
That one was done on pencil and paper.
yeah. No, it's okay. It doesn't matter whether it's pencil and paper or whatever. It's, and I think I might have said, don't worry about staging or anything. Just, you know, go for concept. So the concept of this is that he munches on his arm and then spins and then shreds everything. So yeah, so I mean it's pretty easily readable. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, you got alligator, mean face, crouched position, ready to strike. Pinata comes in, punches. He opens his mouth, clamps down on it, and then spins and shreds. But you know, yeah, but you know, okay, that's a gag onto itself. I would just say what I would probably have done is keep drawing over this stuff. Damn it. Is that where his eyes are? No, his eyes are further back. Yeah, I probably would have, as a drawing, I would have done something, that got him out more, because this pose is kind of confusing as to, what it is. You know what I mean?
Basically, give him a bit more silhouette.
Well, yeah, yeah. So everything reads a little, more clearer. You know what I mean? That's a and you could do these things with the eyes, I guess, to help the spin. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But this isn't really so much of a drawing exercise as it was just a gag thing. But just, if you're thumbnailing for clarity for somebody, you know what I mean? To like, just like that other gag that I think you did where he blew up his thumb, and I did drawings over that, you know what I mean? You could, I mean, the thing is to kind of make it funny, you know what I mean? To kind of, whatever this tableau is, you know what I mean? Make it funny, make it a funny drawing, and same thing with this, like, Again, you kind of have a flow. Um,
That's really cool. No.
maybe that's there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's like, it takes some work on it, but you know. So, what is this? Yeah, this is hard because this is let's see, put it in story. This is a problem. Let's see. This is trouble when its story looks more like animation than it is trying to be story.
Which one are you talking about?
This one that you uploaded saying testing an anime style storyboard here, this one here. So I guess what's confusing, what you did here is you crossed the line. So this Miho is on this side. Now I get confused as to who's who because now he's on this side.
So
You see, because you crossed the access line. So it's hard for me to tell like what is going on here. So I'm like, okay, he throws a punch, something happens there. I don't know what that is. Something happens here. I kind of get that one, but I don't get what happens here. I don't know what's going on there. I get what's happening here, but then it crossed the line. So now he's flying this way instead. And then I guess that must be him, but he grew in size. Okay, so now he's really far away, but then he punches from far away, and I guess he punches Miho from far away, and then I guess he's kind of down. So yeah, this isn't like yeah, this is tough because I get it. It's like this is what requires of me to kind of like peach. You know what I mean? And yeah, so let me, and I probably have to go. So I can't really, this is what's kind of hard, like even within the hour that we have or 2 hours, to kind of take the time out.
Yeah.
To kind of
I could still go back on it and see what's and good make it more understandable, and say keep it within the 180 rule.
Yeah. But then I'm trying to think, like, are there other things about this that because it's just a punching exercise. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
If you go to the inspiration channel, that's where I was inspired by.
Yeah. Because this could almost be like, is he really small? And is he, you know what I mean? Like, is he really big? Like,
I'm just mainly kind of throwing it out there.
Go over this and then we'll probably call it a night. My daughter wants me to take her somewhere, so hold on. So if we drew a thing, I'll lock this so I don't. See, I would be like. I mean, I would probably be giving some kind of
perspective.
Yeah, some kind of cues, and and then this guy would be on there somewhere like this. But like the problem is that he's so far away. You know what I mean? Because if you again kind of did your triangle, would you? Whatever this bullets looks like, you know what I mean? Like that. You could probably put this maybe down here like this. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like something like that has you get a real better idea of where they are in relation to each other. I mean, unless you're playing up this idea that, again, because then he wants to throw a punch that's this big, into the air at him or something like that, if that's the idea. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, like even this, let me see if I can move this over a bit so I can draw and don't have to upload everything all the time. Like, I mean, I could have more of a bulldog stance, is he, he's trying to get up like that, or what is it, this? He was falling back, but it was more at a Dutch angle, he'd be like,
so basically give it like a Dutch angle to this shot, to that shot.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you kind of have that, but then, then you have to add like the poses of him flipping over. I'm going, you know what I mean? I'd have to be another A and B pose. So you'd have to A, B, C. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do it, you got to do it all the way. You know what I mean? If you're really gonna pose this out, you have to kind of pose it out all the way.
That's basically animation then, right? That's like key poses.
Exactly. And then this, same thing, like,
So James, I know that you got your you got something to do with your daughter. Do you think we should so if we could call the meeting off, you could probably like possibly work over this after like tomorrow or
Yeah, or later next week or something like that. But
or,
yeah,
or if
yeah. So, but you can kind of see here, like you see what I'm doing, like where I'm really kind of like really. You see how he's really coming at the screen. You know what I mean? And I mean, yeah, you could probably widen out the field a little bit too, but still, he's really coming out. You know, at the screen. You know, and you could add some lines there to help indicate that. But you see what I mean? But it's like I yeah, there's ways of doing it that I can't quite go into without going into full instruction on how to do it. You know what I mean? But it's like making a comic book in a way. You know what I mean? It's and it's trouble. It's hard as an animator because you want to do animation poses, but you have to do more comic book kind of poses. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're doing it for storyboard, you kind of have to use your comic book, skills. You know what I mean? But if you're doing it for animation, then you use your animation skills. You see what I mean? Yeah, that's. But I mean, I will say, like, it's nice because the drawings are nice and rough, which is good. And so I guess I think it's just, and you're keeping things kind of graphic. I kind of see what's going on here now. Yeah, it's a tough thing, but it's good that you're keeping it rough, though. And I think maybe just a few adjustments and treating it more like a comic book for now, if these are storyboard poses, and push that. But I would say it's good that you're keeping it rough. Like this degree of rough is good. Just like you see how I draw, it's like rough too. So that's good. And I think you could probably, while you're at it in the comic book world, like really be conscious of your shapes and stuff. And something like this, this is where I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I know it's a punch, but again, this is where can you could kind of I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
so basically, have me house face like give a be like drag in the opposite way.
or just cartoon it. You know what I mean? Like, make it read. This is where you're using your your comic strip chops. You know what I mean? Like, just to make it funny, make it read. I don't know. Like, you see? Right? Okay. Okay.
So James,
all right, I got to get going, but
one more thing, James. If you have any time during the week, do you want to have a private meeting so we could go over what we need to go over for Anna?
Yeah, I don't know.
Only if you have time.
I have to check my time, like my availability and stuff. But yeah, I would just say, let me turn this, stop sharing business. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, I guess, but just, keep doing the art, keep doing your best, keep, working at it, and, find your inspiration when you can and where you can. And if you have any specific questions or something like that, you know what I mean? I could really kind of help you out there too. So yeah, if you want to come with specific questions or something like that, like, how do I get this to read? How do I get this to look appealing? How do I get this thing to look like this, or something like that? I could help you out with that, so if you have like a specific thing in mind, you know what I mean? Yeah, let me know if you want to like upload it, and call that out. You know what I mean? If I have time, during the week, I could probably look at it, and then if I feel like I have a quick solution to it, I'll try and draw it up or something like that, or I'll make a note of it and I'll bring it up at the next time we meet again or something, but keep on going. It's all about your ideas, and then how sweet you present your ideas. You know what I mean? It's like twofold. You have your idea, and now how do you actually present that idea? You know what I mean? And what does that idea look like? And then are you able to what degree are you able to make it feel like how you feel it? You see what I mean? And that's where, a lot of the drawing discipline kind of comes in, to kind of help you out. You know what I mean? It's like, I want this to feel real dynamic. Well, you have drawing tools to figure that out through composition, through texture, through, all these different things. You see what I mean? And that's what you're trying to ultimately go for, is you're trying to communicate. This is all about communication, because we're communicating visually as opposed to verbally. It's all about communication. It's like, how do you want to, how well do you speak? How eloquent are you in your words is the comparative as to how well are you able to lay down a line, how shapes work with, you know what I mean? It's like what I say, like writing is a communication art, right? You have, a written composition is made of like letters make up words, words make up sentences, sentences make up paragraphs make up chapters, chapters make a story. Same thing with drawing, lines make shape, shape makes form, form makes a character, character makes a scene. You know what I mean? So it's just like that, just like how you would craft writing, like what words should I use? Like what would be the right combination of words to describe this thing? Well, same thing, like what kind of shapes, what kind of line, what kind of, would it take to communicate the same thing, but visually? And they're both visual forms, because we're both looking at it, reading the word. We're both looking at it, looking at the drawing. They're both visual forms of communication, except again, one's made up of words that are already, a typeface. We even have different fonts. Like even like what kind of font would be good to present this in? Should it be in script, or should it be in basic, or should it be in that, Comic Sans? You see what I mean? Same thing with your drawing. Like, well, should it be rough, or should it be kind of rough, or should it be clean, or should it be, you see what I mean? So you have choices there too. Yeah, does that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. But when you think of this whole thing as a communication thing, that's when you start thinking differently, because you have to think about how the other person is doing it, and not just how you want to do it, but what does the other person need to see? You see what I mean? What does the other person need to be provided with in order for them to see what you feel inside? You see what I mean? That's the challenge. You see what I mean? Okay. So I'll leave you with that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. All right.
Thanks.
Cheerio.
Yeah,
I'll see you next week. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Bye.
Bye.